Okay, today we're working on a hub bearing on an '04 Kia Sorento. We got jacked up on stands already. Just took the tire off, and we're about to take off the caliper and bracket, which you want to take off this bolt right here, this bolt, and then the other actual bracket is going to be behind this, but it's easier to take off for me the caliper first instead of everything together. So we're going to do that now. I just took the caliper off. It's 14mm bolts. I got tied to the shock right now. Don't ever let the caliper hang just off the car, because if you stretch the hose, it's very bad. Next, we're going to take off the bracket. It's a 19mm socket. There's one here that you're going to take off, a bolt, and another bolt here. And we're going to do that next. There's the caliper bracket we just took off. Now the next step's easy. Here's the rotor. You just pull this guy off, and now you're up to the hub. And I'll show you how to take the nut off in a second. Okay, we're at the axle nut, and there's a groove right here, and they smashed down the nut to keep it from backing off. And pretty much you just stick, I guess, flathead in there. You can push it back out. Careful, because last time I did this on the other side, I broke the tip of the flathead. But we're gonna try it again without breaking any tools this time. You just pull that back, and then once you pull all that off, sometimes there might be other spots it's pushed down, like right over here, but that don't look like a big problem to me. But we're gonna get that all bent out, and then we're gonna take the nut off. Once you have a gap around the nut, you can pull it off now. And this is a 1 1/4 inch socket, and we're gonna snatch it off now. Before you can take the nut off, you got to pop this center cap out on this tire, and I'll show you why in a second. Alright, once you pop that cap out, you put the wheel back on, you drop the car back down to the ground where the tire's touching the ground, and now you're ready to take the nut off. Alright, the axle nut came off. It took some extreme pressure. Next, I ran this tool from AutoZone. We're just gonna stick it up on here, bolt it back down with the lugs, and I just bought me a bolt that has the same threads, and we're gonna push out the CV axle through right here. And you just tighten this nut right here until it pushes the CV axle back. I just used a wrench for lever to keep it from spinning when I was tightening it. Worked out pretty good. I'm about maxed out though on my, I got no more threads in my bolt. So I'm gonna try something else real quick, but it's getting pushed back so far. Alright, push the CV axle back far enough, I believe. Next we're gonna take off this tie rod. You want to remove this clip right here, penny clip, and then we're gonna back this nut off. And that's what we're gonna do next. I jumped the gun on the last one, but anyway, when this is in here, take this nut off and just hit this on top right here with the hammer, and it'll fall straight down. It ain't no biggie. Yeah, you just hit it right there with the hammer and it'll fall down. And then once you're down, put it back, your nut on there, and call it good, and keep moving on. Next we're gonna do the top control arm. And next we're going to get a 14mm ratchet and a wrench right here, and you'll just take off this control arm right here and this bolt right there on the side. And that's what we're doing next. Alright, we took the bolt off, and I just hammered up here a little bit, and that's been popping that up on the lower control arm, so we'll just hit it a couple more times and it'll be coming out. Now we're working on lower control arm or ball joint. We can take this pin out. And I don't have a nut big enough for that, so I'm going to use a crescent wrench. And that's how we're going to take that off. Almost forgot. Right back, where am I here? There's this camera focus. There's an ABS sensor right here. It's just a 10mm bolt back here. I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of dark. But it's just one bolt holding it in. Take that out. Right back here. And this should just come around off. Just a 10mm bolt. And that's it. Here's the CV shaft. Took it out. I just pushed this bolt in there and just hammered it on through that way and just tied it up. And now we're working on the bottom ball joint. Pretty much we're hitting right here with the hammer to just break it loose. Alright, here it is. We got it off. It should be all this one piece right here. All one piece. Having a fun day today. In case you're wondering, this is going to go in the middle of all of this bearing. And I got it from Napa, an FW115 SKF bearing, good bearing. Alright, I'm going to take it to Pet Boys, and they're going to press it out, press it all back in, and then we just start putting it back together. Alright, I just got the hub back from Pet Boys. We're going to start the project backwards now, and I'm going to start with the lower control arm, putting it back together. I felt like last time that I did this, when I did the lower, it made it a lot easier putting everything back together. So that's what we're going to start with first. I did a little bit of work. Once you get that bottom nut on the lower control arm, go ahead and put the tie rod in on there. It makes it easier to tighten the nut on the bottom. And then I started with the upper control arm. You just push down in the hole and slide this bolt through. And that's what we're at right now. We're doing pretty good so far, putting it back together. We still got a little bit to go though. We got the nut back on the axle nut. We got the tie rod in on. Got the upper control arm on, the lower control arm on. We're about to put the rotor and brake caliper and the bracket and brake caliper back on, and then we're done. Okay, caliper and brackets back on. Only thing left to do now is just put the tire on, and that's how you put a hub bearing back together. An 04 Kia Sorento.